Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Arch-Lector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We continue our coverage of the Age of Madness trilogy with A Little Hatred, and we cover Knowing the Arrow, Biding Time, Wasting Time, and The Bigger They Are. So let's get started. As usual, folks, do I need to say it? You know goddamn well what we're doing here. We're thanking you for your support. We've had a couple great weeks of downloads. George, I think last week was like 330 or 325 or something like that, which is really cool.
The week before that was like over 700.
It was crazy. You guys are great. We fucking love it. We love you. All right. Keep it up. And we're going to continue to make false promises in terms of like the content we put out aside from the podcast episodes.
To be fair, we haven't made a false promise in a while.
Yes, that's true.
We've pulled back because we know that we just won't. So,
well, the desire is there. It's just
the desire is there.
Honestly, I think we need to develop some kind of like accountability system.
Maybe we could have some sort of machine that could like pump videos out. You know, all we have to do is give it some sort of prompt.
No.
It can make videos endlessly.
No.
Wait a minute.
That is true. Though. If we got an AI and fed it all of the podcast episodes and just
all
do
an
an episode about these content, I wonder how that would turn out.
It would not turn out well.
Hang on. Actually, there's something very creative to think about that. There was one that did it with just the podcast, but not the book context. What kind of weird story you would create?
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
not doing that. Anyway,
yeah,
we are gonna develop an accountability system where the boys hold me accountable. I try my best to hold them accountable.
It didn't work.
Well, we gotta like set it up, and that's gonna be off camera, off record.
All right. Okay.
We'll do our best.
Yes, my lord.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, anywho, with that, we just again want to thank you for your continued support, your interactions with us on the Discord and on the Reddit. I will be making a post or two in the coming weeks. I am just trying to limit our exposure on Reddit since somebody got banned again, but this time we didn't. Me, Harrison, and the podcast did not get banned. So we're just maybe they're just on the.
To be fair, I just want to clarify. I didn't get banned for something new that I'd said. I got banned for the original thing. They just found my IP address again.
Yeah. So they're apparently on the anti-pedophile watch. So you know,
if you denounced pedophiles 3 years ago, you're still banned from Reddit.
That's crazy. Well, you didn't just denounce them.
Yes, I did. I technically threatened violence against people.
You didn't threaten.
It's neither here nor there.
You just put out a call to arms. That's all you did, really.
I did. Yeah.
Oh, well, again, thank you for your support. We love it. We love you. And continue it on. Continue bringing your support means the world to us. So we'll move on to our community interaction segment, which is really just another. This is technically a non-violent call to arms for Sir Spaceman's Little Hatred, memeing every chapter. I think we're almost filled up on that one, right? At this point?
We're getting there.
Yeah,
there's still a couple of gaps in there, but yeah, go and check that out. Just pinned on the top of the House of the Meme Maker page.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, we're definitely not filled up. There's still like half a book left. So just look.
Don't say that, man. You gotta create scarcity. You gotta create demand.
Come on.
Create demand. You're a goddamn beautiful American.
It's capitalism. So go over there and sign up, you scallywags. What the fuck? We want to see the dedication here to the first law. Dedication, please. So with that, we'll just jump right in and we'll go to our first chapter read through, which is Knowing the Arrow. And this is Rika's perspective. So this was a pretty short chapter, right, boys? We kind of have it kind of hits you at the very beginning where her and Isern are running through the forest, through a river or whatnot. Well, not running through a river, swimming across a river too, as well. In this,
Yeah, I feel like that. This is the whole the climax of the chase sequence that we've had like right from the get go with Rika and Issa. They're running away from Star Nightfall's men and they're like evading them, sneaking around, and now they're finally like it's come to a point where they need to run as fast as they can.
Yeah. And apparently in the previous Rika chapter, when they were in a river and they overheard Stour talking to Jonas Clover and Wonderful and everything. Funny enough, this time at the very beginning of the chapter, we get hit with apparently she runs into Clover, right? I believe this is Clover that she runs into. She had busted through some brush, and he's just standing there while she's like laying on the ground. She looks up and she goes, what the fuck?" And he jokes around like, "Oh, quite the entrance." But instead of grabbing her or anything, he kind of just stepped back and bowed and was like, "Please, after you." And she didn't even like think about it. She just kept running, which is pretty cool. Then obviously she catches up with Isern. Isern jumps across a ravine, and so does Rika. And Rika almost doesn't make it, to the point where kind of like what happened with Logan, I think. It might have been in the blade itself when he jumps across the rooftops, right? And Pharaoh has to pull him up. Same thing happens here, but Isern gets shot with an arrow because there's an archer across the ravine, and she gets shot with an arrow through the leg.
That's a good little connection there, Jeffrey. I didn't think about that before. They both hit their guts and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. It caught me. I caught it right now thinking about it, and then so Isern is down for a bit because the arrow's through her leg, obviously. Rika looks at this archer and she sees the archer. He's, knocking another arrow. And then the long eye kicks in and she sees the path of the arrow's going to take. And not only the path of where the arrow's going to take, man, she sees how the arrow's constructed, man, from atoms, man. And then she even sees not only where the arrow comes from, man, she sees the man, the
LSD
archer. The what?
The LSD is wild.
The LSD is.
That's exactly what a trip is like. That what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then she sees how even the archer's wife, like how he had kissed her goodbye, and that he hoped her broken toe mended on his way out to join the war effort or what have you. And she sees the path where the arrow's gonna take, man. And so she just knew with utter certainty where this arrow was always gonna be.
Despite the satire, I think that's actually a really fucking good segment. I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I like the way the magic is presented. Like this is just like Rika's way of understanding it.
Yeah.
It's as with all of her visions, she kind of has there's a distance between what she's seeing and what she can understand. But like this one particular point about this one particular thing, it comes through really clearly. And I think that's incredible. Just the way that that's portrayed. I think that's probably the best interpretation of magic that we get.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very personal. Like, she is just as awestruck by it as you are, like reading it and the thought of it. But she also is doing magic. Basically, she's seeing everything about it, and for it to be such a unique way, it's not like she like.
It's not like the Jedi that it's like, yes, I see where that's going to be. It's like you have to understand everything about it, in order to understand that one moment. And I love how it's not, Rick already does this a couple of times, but when she does it, it's like the most important time that she could do it.
Yeah,
and I think that's incredible. I think it's such a good way of showing magic without a character being just, overpowered in every situation.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool about this is, she knows where the arrow's going. Apparently, the trajectory is going to be like towards Isern, and it's nothing for her to just like reach out her hand and just kind of brush it away. And she kind of like, she didn't misjudge it, but like she caught it a little early where the arrowhead still like nicked her hand and there's some blood. But she is like, wow, what the fuck? And right now there is no denying it that she had the long eye. And then because she didn't really believe it even when she saw Ufrith burning, because she could have just attributed that to a dream or like a just like a random vision one might get. But here, there's no denying it. And she's looking at the archer, and the archer, his jaw drops. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then here she turns around laughing, and she can't believe it. She's, like, "What the fuck?" And she goes, "Give my regards to Riem, hope her toe mends." And she scampers away, which is crazy. And then she goes, she catches up with Isern, right? And then she sees that apparently there's upstream, there's another bridge with a bunch of men trying to cross it to get to them. She's like, "Oh fuck," and Isern's telling her just go without her, blah blah blah. Ricker's like, "No, fuck you, I'm not leaving you. I'm not, I'm just not leaving you." And then they hear some crashing and thrashing through the brush, and Ricka is just like, she grabs the spear that Isern had, and she's ready to die standing next to her friend.
She's got the thing that we see often on like the young characters, where she's like, what is her instinct, right? It's to fight. It's, at least it is now. So I think it's a good interpretation of it. She's had a little mini arc. She's done with her YA arc now. Now she can actually be in her
YA arc, yeah. And now a man steps into the clearing. A big man in a weather-stained coat, holding a scarred shield and a sword with a silver letter near the hilt.
Logan, Nine Fingers.
Even through the gray hair hanging lank across his face, Ricka could see the awful scar from his forehead through his brow and across his cheek to the corner of his mouth. And in the misshapen socket of his left eye, there was no eye at all, but a bright ball of dead metal gleaming as the sun broke through above. Rut-row. It shivers, and he says, "Been looking for you too." Oh boy, folks. Oh boy. So Ricka throws down her spear, and she gives him a big ass hug. Oh my God, what? And she jokes around with him, says, "You took your fucking time with it, call shivers." And he goes, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." Apparently him and some men that he was running with, taking care of Nightfall's boys that were hunting them. And so then I like how he looks at Isra and is like, "Can you walk?" She goes, "No, not really." And he goes, "All right." And he just like lifts her, puts her over his shoulder, and is like, "All right, let's start going because you're waiting." And I like how Isra is like, "This is a bloody indignity."
I do like how we get like the little like we do get the a fan service moment, where like he's like, "I'm Shivers, I'm a badass." Like, yeah, we fought him off. Don't worry, I saved you. but it's Shivers, so he's really just like, "Huh, what's up? Oh, good to see you. Yeah, let's go." Blah, blah, blah.
It's like that fucking meme from last week. Seven mentions.
Yes, he's aura farming.
Just aura farming. That's great.
Shivers is just standing. He was there the whole time. He was just aura farming.
And there's some more ore farming in the next chapter, I think it is, and we'll talk about it. And I do want to like just point out this nice little callback before we end this chapter read through. But Shivers says that it's not high in his list of wants in terms of like carrying Isern, but he says, "But once you've got a task to do, it's better to do it than live with the fear of it." Ricka finishes for him because it was one of her father's favorite sayings. And we know where that really came from, which I love that little connection there. But boys,
that is good.
Harrison?
I actually like this chapter a lot. It's a little actiony, but not like the conventional action that he typically does. We've that little magic scene we don't get very much of. Shivers, it's great to see him. So I think I'm going to give it a 6.5. Six and a knuckle.
6 and a knuckle. Okay.
I really do think the best thing about it, it's like a typical chase scene, like you said, Jeff. There's some parallels with some other chase scenes that we've had throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very short. I do like the magic. I think that is probably, like I said, the best depiction of that kind of magic that you can have in a book without it being just completely overpowered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna give this a 6.
Okay. I enjoyed it. Quick chapter. I'm noticing with excuse me. I'm noticing, at least in this book, I could be wrong if maybe it could have been like this as well in the previous, maybe the Sand ones, but not really. A lot of these chapters are very like quick cut, right? There's not a lot of like long form
definitely
chapters.
less of that in the first trilogy. The standalones are more. There's definitely a mediator between these two, but yeah, in the Age of Madness, there is a lot more fast.
It's faster paced, for sure.
It's faster paced, and which is okay. That's nice, but I wonder if that. I don't know. Maybe longer form chapters might help someone connect.
I mean, I've been saying this from the beginning. You know, like there are chapters that could be just blended together.
Right. Yeah. That's very true. So, I like it. It's good to see Shivers again, even though we know he's a fraud. He's an aura farmer. But it's good to see him. Like you said, the depiction, the
fraud
could still kill any one of us. But yeah, he's a fraud.
Yeah. Shivers is probably he is probably still the most feared man in the North. He is still more deadly than most people, to be clear, for you Shiver lovers. But he is just not as badass as you think he is.
Right. I like the depiction, like you said, of the long eye, of magic in general. Like the brief interaction with Clover, which is going to be confirmed in the next chapter.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
I'll give it a 5 out of 9 fingers. So with that, we'll move on to our next segment, which is our best meme of the week. George Boy, that's a you. Take it away.
So this is a one of the entrances for meme every chapter of A Little Hatred, and it's fencing with Father number 2. So this is the Savine, Glockter, and Gorst one, and this is from A Bloodied Einer, because A Bloodied Einer is a regular contributor to meme every chapter.
Yo, my man.
He knows what to do. He's got the stuff, you know.
He was trained. In memeing art.
The memeing art.
Born in it.
Molded by it. It is said that he trained with the legendary.
He did. He absolutely did. And this is ties in very well to this meme because it's the the bit where Bane's facing up against Batman, but instead of Batman, it's Filthy Frank as Pink Guy. Sorry. Savine at 100 levels of confidence when the fencing starts, and then Savine after Gorst goes about 30%, and it's a orangutan chasing the fucking toddler down the street on a tiny bike,
on a tricycle.
Yeah, on a tiny.
Oh yeah, man, I love that part too because you get this idea in your head that the scene is gonna be like, oh, Savine's like, yeah, I'm a badass, and you're like, oh, is this a girl boss moment? And then they're like, go for real for a minute, and it is not a girl boss moment.
It's great.
They should have put Glockta somewhere in the background, like laughing somehow.
Absolutely. And I cannot do enough credit to that meme because it's very visual. But you have to go and look at that if you haven't already. If you're not on Reddit, the link for the meme of the week is always in the description of the episode. So go and look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thank you for that, George, and thank you for that, Bloody Niner. As you know, we love you. You're one of our favorites, and thank you for being such a big time contributor here at the Circle of the World podcast and at the First Law subreddit and the House of the Meme Maker subreddit. Appreciate that. So we'll move on to our second chapter read through again, which is Biting Time, Wasting Time. And this is from the perspective of our boy, Jonas Clover, who we briefly saw. And we get confirmation from that in a second. He's hanging out with Wonderful. He's engaging in bad habits, a.k.a. drinking heavily.
I love that first line, though. It's like, you ever think you drink too much? It's like, too much, by definition, would be too much. It's just like, yeah. Okay.
So clever.
Yeah. And he goes, I find however much I drink is just the right amount. He's like, man.
Yeah, drunks tend to say that. And I'm right with you there, Clover. Let's go.
Next time they have somebody, next time somebody questions you guys on drinking anything, that's what you should go with.
Yeah. That's right. Out there, you say it's too much. It's just the right amount for me. So apparently, Stour, Nightfall, and his cronies walk up, and he's pissed because they had Ricka right through their fingertips. God damn it. They were right there. And one of them, Magweir and Greenway, I forget which one of them, goes, oh, she came right through where you were, Jonas Clover. Where the fuck? You didn't see her? And he goes, I didn't. But if I did, I'd have caught her, or at the very least, I would have, yelled out. But internally, he wonders like why he didn't, because she just looked like such a desperate, ragged little scrap to have all these bastards chasing her. And when the hunt was on, he always secretly rooted for the fox. If you can't find a way to win that doesn't involve torturing some half-mad girl, then maybe you don't deserve to win at all.
Damn. He's got a heart, doesn't he?
Or maybe that was all shit, and it was just because she was pretty.
Oh, never mind. Great point. We've all been there.
So there's, Clover is kind of like deflecting Magweir and Greenway's like shit talking. He's saying, maybe hunting girls just isn't his sport. Stour goes, oh, your sport is whatever I say it is. He goes, look, really what your father sent me for is my cunning, not my running. So, I don't know what you want from me. Yeah. And then Magweir is like, oh, aren't you loyal? You turned down Glamour, Golden, Cam, Ironhead too. And Clover's like, I'm loyal. I was loyal to both. I was just more loyal to me. Truth is, men love to blab about loyalty till it might trap him on the losing side. Then there's a chorus of silence on the issue. So I consider reasonably loyal to be a bit more loyal than most and a lot more honest than most. It's a fool who makes folk choose too often between loyalty and good sense. And then he goes, and how'd she get loose anyway? Star Wars like, Carl Shivers was waiting on the other side of the river, killed 4 of my men.
I like these two. I like Star Wars little crew because they kind of like Goyle.
Yeah.
That Star Wars says something, they're like, yeah.
Yeah. His gaggle is like Lord Smun's gaggle, actually, more accurately. They're like,
Lord Smun.
just the North version. They're like, it's a bloody night. I want to kill people. Oh, so cool.
Yeah, Magweir's like, Shivers. I wish I'd ran into that old fucker.
Yeah. I love that too. Yeah, because Radice says that wonderful.
And Clover
just look at each other and do like the comic, like, laugh track.
Yeah,
that's great.
And then here's where Shivers is doing aura farming without being there, like Clover and Wonderful. Like he would have shoved an axe up your asshole.
That's probably accurate, though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and then he tells Magweir like he needs to calm down, or else you're just gonna make yourself sad, and the world's already grim enough as it is. Everyone's stomping around like the Bloody Nine, like they'd murder the whole world if they got the chance. And Stour at this point goes, the Bloody Nine was the greatest warrior the North ever saw. And Clover goes, I know. I watched him beat Fenris to fear in the circle. And there was quiet. And then Stour's like, oh, you saw that?
And he's like, you're my man.
Yeah.
He does like switch gears though. He's like, he's like, I'm sorry, Clover, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah, exactly. Because Wonderful even chimes in and says, well, yeah, he held the shield for him. And Stour's like, you held the shield? And he goes, yeah, on behalf of, Bethod, your grandfather. 18 years old and knowing half of nothing and thinking myself quite the hard bastard. And then right here,
one of the times that Clover actually does just tell the truth right to Stour, he just doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and he goes, that Clover even says he walked away with the wrong lessons, that he ended up taking a challenge or two himself. And he goes, if you want my advice, stay out of the circle. But Stour's like, but the circle's where names are made. I beat Stranger Come Knocking there, carved them all to hell. And Clover goes, yeah, from what I heard, it was a fight for the songs, even though internally Clover, what he actually heard was that Stranger Come Knocking got old and slow and lived past his reputation.
Ooh.
A tragedy that befalls every great fighter not killed in his prime, except for Logan.
I love that, right? That is actually a really good, it's the same thing for like athletes, right? Kind of a similar thing.
Yeah, there's always that one outlier, apparently.
You got to peak. You got to peak somewhere.
Yeah, you do. And it's sad to know that Stranger Come Knocking is gone.
It's not really, considering he was a,
that's right. That's right.
A murderer and slaver on vast degree.
Murderer and slaver, rapist.
He wasn't a pedophile, but he was a rapist.
Yeah,
no doubt,
you're right.
So
you're right.
Whatever.
Yeah. You right about that.
They don't call him Stranger Come Fucking for nothing,
That's true. That's Stranger Come Fucking. And then then the Greenway and Magweir are like, did Black Dower wearing a bleh or a Sham Heartless or Red 3 Trees Fear the Circle? Anyway,
good impression. Very good impression.
Yeah.
That's how Sour Nightfall sounds in my head. So
yeah. And he's talks about how like the only chain he wants is a chain of blood, and Clover's like, that doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't even make sense. How do you make a chain out of blood?
Terrible metaphor. Terrible.
I love how one-dimensional Stour is. Like there is nothing behind those eyes. He's just pure evil.
But he is literally the parallel to Leo, because Leo and him are raised on the same stories, and they're taking the same lessons, and they're the wrong lessons. Because I will say this, you have to look at it from Stour's perspective, right? From his mind view, the North has been oppressed by the Union for far too long.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Leo's mind, the North has harassed England for far too long. Right?
Absolutely, but it's just the same thing that Bethord said.
Right.
But the difference is that Stour is choosing to do it, whereas Bethord, for all intents and purposes, was kind of forced into it.
Because of thanks to Logan's action.
So he's talking about the legacy of Bethord and Logan and all these other champions, but none of them were wanting to do the things that he wants to do.
And but a lot like bloodlust does come into play here, because obviously when you're young and you're at war, that does come into play. But it's like you're saying, it's like Stour. The problem with Stour, here's what I think: it's the same kind of problem that Leo had. Right? He is the product of an upbringing where life isn't that hard. Right? Where is the silver spoon lifestyle. For Stour, your uncle's the king, and your father is really the king behind the shadows, right? Mm-hmm. In the shadows, whatever. So, of course, he's gonna have an inflated sense of himself. He's gonna have an inflated sense of grandeur, delusion, all this stuff. So
it's like you said, Harrison. It was like, was it you, Jeff? Like I can imagine Stour going back to the tent, like after burning 3 villages, and it's just him and his assholes, like having a gander, like the same way that Ladislaus' crew did.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. And I would say, at least with Leo, he's hearing these stories from the Dogman and everything. The Dogman is telling these stories as a friend of Logan, right? Whereas it's interesting that Stour's hearing these stories of the Bloody Nine, these songs and everything, but obviously killed Bethod, his grandfather, and obviously Scale and Calder do not like Logan, and yet Stour is a huge fan of him. Interesting dynamic there, I think.
I'm sure a lot of people find Stour's character to be shallow
to a point, but there is there's complexity there. But like George said, there's also the fact that behind those eyes, there's nothing going on there. Yeah, and as they walk off, and that group walks off, circle jerking and everything. Wonderful's like telling Clover, is like, why do you let those people talk to you like that? He goes, it doesn't matter. And it's, you can't, correct everyone's opinions of oneself, right? And besides, who really gives a shit? And so then he just basically goes, I'm going to do what everyone should be doing, and I'm just going to lay down here and bide my time and waste my time. And I like how Wonderful does say, what's the difference between biding time and wasting time? And he goes, results, woman, results.
So accurate.
So that's the end of that chapter. I mean, boys, how do you rate this chapter? Anything that you like that maybe like portends for later events in the books, or is it kind of this is kind of like a self-contained chapter, you think?
I think this gives us more of Clover's cunning. Like we really get the feeling in this chapter that he really is just
a smack guy.
Like he seems like he's taking the piss out of himself all the way through when he first introduces himself to Stour, and he's there in that situation. He's sort of just making himself the fool, and now we kind of get a sense that he's like picking a little bit more, asking more questions, and like I said, outright telling Stour to his face, like this isn't the way that you want to be, even if it's veiled in metaphor.
Yes.
And I do like that. I like the way that Clover develops here. I like Clover as a character more than most, I think. But I still think the chapter's a little bit too short, so I'm going to give it 5.5.
Harrison, what do you think?
That was very well put, George. I think you're right. I think you kind of don't really have Clover's measure until now. Like he seems a bit more. I guess he shows a lot more dynamicy here because he's. showing how smart he is, while also like being like he's trying to impart wisdom on Stour. Like he's trying to actually do his job. And so like he's like very awake, I guess, right here. Like you I guess the actual terminology would be you kind of get the vibe he's just some kind of drunkard, but he's really not a drunkard, and he just wants everyone to think that. And so you get more of that vibe here, I think. And so I agree. I think it's well done. And Stour's basically you're like, okay, what's to this guy? Oh, he's just a cunt. So I think I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 9.
Okay. Real short chapter. There's not a lot of meat here, but there is like, there's a bit. We're mining a little bit of character depth from Clover here, in terms of apparently, I think that was alluded to earlier in the book, but he was part of Glamour Golden's crew, and then obviously either betrayed him or left him. We don't know the circumstances there. Went to Cairn Ironhead. I imagine it was during the time when Calder named Glamour as the poisoner of Call Ricci, and then Clover switches over, and then switches over from Ironhead to, I guess, Calder's side. I'm not so sure. So we get a sense of like, okay, so he's all about self-preservation, and his bit about loyalty, it makes sense. Some people view loyalty as it's about honor and you go down with the ship kind of thing, but not Clover, which is whatever. It's self-preservation again. And he's a thinker. We know that he's a thinker, and we know that from here we gather that in his youth he was hot-blooded and rash, and then obviously age has taught him lessons. That's pretty much it. I'll give it this a 4 out of 9 fingers. So, pretty short chapter. So we're gonna move on to our character spot, boys. Who are we gonna highlight? Who do we shine the spotlight on? I'll tell you who we're gonna shine the spotlight on. Riam's husband and Riam.
That's awful. That's terrible.
There's just not a lot of characters. Like nobody knew yet, so like we're in that weird dry spot, and that happens in each of these books. Well, we really gotta reach, and Riam,
we're reaching.
Husband and Riam they have this short interaction where they're like, essentially, have a good day at work, honey. and Rika finds that out. My favorite part about the whole scene is the fact that Rika's like, tell Riam. Like, she's like trying to, like, that would have freaked me the fuck out. Can you imagine if you go try to kill someone and they turn around and look at you dead in the eye?
See their whole past. It's like, oh shit.
And you look them dead in the eye, and they're just like, tell your wife I said hi. You'd be like, but by name. It'd be horrifying.
I do like the way that this kind of like humanizes a lot of the people that we see in the North as well. Obviously, not just the assholes like Matt Greer and Greenway, but this guy is just go out and find this person, and that's your job.
Yes,
it's a good way of like humanizing it, and I like the way that he's just kind of shocked when Rika pushes the arrow away, and he's just like. Stares at her like, what the fuck? I'm not even gonna try and shoot again. I'm gonna leave. This is too much.
Flabbergasted. Yeah. He just goes home to Riam and he's like,
"You're not gonna believe.
Would not believe." They're just fucking pitched right into the woods. It's like, shoot her. So I shoot her. I'm gonna kill her. I'm gonna get the girl. Go right through her eye, and she just knocks it out of the way and then looks at me and says to say hi to you. What the fuck?
And I love that as well, because that probably builds like Rika's legend up as well. Because obviously by the time we get to like Wisdom of Crowds and a little bit further, Rika's starting to build this like religion about it. And this could be like one of the starting things. It's like this guy goes away and like, you're not gonna fucking believe what I said. It tells all of his comrades. And this story like spreads throughout the ranks.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that it's not even mentioned, or even we're the first people to think of it. Probably not, but it's an interesting little inclusion.
Yeah, I just think Riam's husband. How could he just leave her with a broken toe? I just
that's got to work. You can't look after a toe.
It haunts me, man.
Well, he's got to go kill random women in the forest for Stour Nightfall. I mean, like, it's not that unreasonable.
I wonder what the pay rate is.
What is
Not
it?
much, probably.
A shilling.
2 coins. Shilling. Hilarious.
I said shilling, not knowing what the actual worth of a shilling is. It's like a penny.
It's actually
Probably,
12 pennies.
12 cents?
12
That's
pennies.
12 cents? Wow, dog. That's crazy.
Because back in the day,
Wow.
English money used to be that there were 240 pence in a pound.
That's wild.
So 12 pence?
So 24 shillings is a pound.
Mm.
No, sorry, 20 shillings is a pound.
Whatever.
Huh. Whatever.
Yeah, funny that.
British money. Whatever.
That's not, it's been 50 years since that, so
Okay. So, anything else we want to talk about Riem or Riem's husband?
Nah, I think we're done.
That's pretty much it, right?
I hope it ends.
I hope it's ends, yes.
Hope the toe mends. Yeah, hopefully maybe he takes that as a lesson and he just goes back home and
like Beck, just gonna go and live a quiet life.
yeah, tend to your wife's feet, help her take out, remove the corn from her feet, all that stuff. Just George's face is
weird.
That is funny.
I don't know, maybe start an OnlyFans with her feet or something. Anyway, so we'll start.
Dear God.
Dear God. All right, so we'll move on to our third and final chapter read through, which is The Bigger They Are. And ladies and gentlemen, this is another Leo Dancock chapter. And this is
going right in with the bias there, Jeffrey.
Sorry. Leo Danbrock, the young lion.
The young lion! Yeah, I think that sometimes people take Leo too seriously as well. Like, whenever you read about Giselle, you felt the same way in the first book. But because he has a positive arc, people are like, whatever, who cares? You should see what he turns into. When Leo's just a negative one. So people are like, what a cunt.
Yeah, it does color. It does. And it's hard. Like, there is a lot of Giselle comparisons, like in terms of the pompousness, here and everything. Absolutely. So him and Gloward are gonna, they're gonna fight in the circle, but bare hands. And Gerard is Leo second, while who's Gloward second? I forget.
I don't think
Barnava.
it's mentioned. Oh, Barnava.
No, yeah, it's Barnava. And they take off their shirts, and Gerard is like, "Ooh, I swear he's got bigger."
Damn, those are some big titties. On a bed.
And then I like how Gerard is like, "Well, he's built like a barn." It's like, "All right, Gerard, keep your pants on, you pervert." And then, so basically, Gerard is like, "All right, man, good luck. I'm on your side. Just, be careful."
And Leo points out that he fights all of his friends with different weapons because you don't know what you're going to get when you go into the circle. Which is not foreshadowing in any way whatsoever.
I mean, it's objectively, not bad. It's not a bad thing to try to do. You know what I mean?
No. It's just, he seems like the kind of person that's completely fucking obsessed with what he does,
definitely.
and not in a good way. It's like kind of, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. So they're starting to fight, and as they're starting to fight, Leo's like, "Oh, that's right, he is built like a barn." He punches him, like no effect, and Gloward beating the shit out of him.
Minimal damage, sir.
Skipped over the best funny line there as well. The fucking when Gloward is like, "I'm gonna grind you into this hill," and somebody's like, "The young lemon."
Oh, that's right. I'm gonna squeeze you out like a lemon.
Like a lemon.
I do like we get like the pompousness of Star Wars guys, and then we have these guys. To be honest, these guys do genuinely just seem like frat boy homies for the most part. So that's fair. That's a great joke.
It's a great one. And as they're fighting, and Leo starts getting his ass whooped, Leo's finding it hard to focus because obviously he sees Rika and Isern in the crowd of spectators. He's like, "What the fuck?" But he doesn't recognize Rika. He goes, "Who is this hot bitch with the ring through her nose? Damn, she's sexy."
Damn, puppy.
And then and then Isern is like, "Ooh, these boys are taking off their shirts. It's free."
Isern is a freak.
Yeah, Isern is a freak. And yeah, she's calling Isern's calling Leo a hunting dog, all fierce and frisky. And I like how it goes, Leo didn't feel too frisky as Glower's fist came at him again. And so basically it comes to a point in this fight scene, which is just them, obviously fighting just to train and everything. Leo gets his ass whipped, but then he starts putting on an act to encourage Glower to like run at him, and Glower takes the bait, and Leo basically like rolls under a punch and lifts up. He does in wrestling terms, he basically does an ankle pick or a high single, all right, and then Glower falls, and then Leo starts twisting his ankle lock. Like, oh god, I tap out. Boom, done. And then Rika comes up to him and is like, "Well,
you're so strong."
Yeah, and then he goes, once they give him a hug, she gives him a hug. He's like, "Oh, Rika," because he sees the charms and the necklaces and everything. So he goes, "Oh my god, I thought you were lost." He goes, "Well, I'm found, yeah." And then she talks about how she's gonna put Stour and Nightfall back in the mud. She promises, and then she goes, she's not hurt, but she did say that she's been starved, slapped, pissed on, shot at, chased by dogs, threatened with being fucked by a pig, slept under a hanged man, near fell down a gorge, killed a boy, and shat myself. So okay, that's interesting.
I like that they know each other.
Yeah, because he grew up around the Dogman, obviously, right?
Because obviously they both mentioned before. Rika mentioned that she went to a what they call like the teacher in Austin Hall, and Leo mentioned that he went to live with the Dogman.
Yeah.
So that might have even been at the same time. So they're like,
yeah, that's how.
Yeah, they mentioned it later. They mentioned it later how they used to play in Austin Home together, and
we mentioned it now.
Yeah, they mentioned it here. The first time they met, he obviously was like making fun of her. Obviously, I guess because of her twitches.
Yeah, because she's weird.
Right, but he was eager to
look at you having a fit.
Yeah.
It's such a Leo thing too. Like it actually fits into with the character. He makes fun of a girl having seizures, and then whenever she grows up and happens to be hot, he's like, "All is forgiven. You're beautiful. Look, you're so young." That's what he's like.
I like that as well. That he doesn't really think that until somebody else gets involved. Like he's not really interested in Rika, but when he sees that all the other boys are staring at her, then he's like, "Oh, now I have to."
No, wait. That's not necessarily true. Here's the thing, because he goes, she talks about how it helped when she knocked him down once when they were kids and she sat on him, and he goes, anyway, you were taller than me back then, but I doubt you try it now. And then she kind of like wipes some blood off his like face, and she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I might be persuaded."
But he
just winks at him.
He doesn't internally think anything about that. Though.
Well, hold on. But then as she walks away, she goes, "I'm very much in demand." She swaggers off, leaving Leo staring after her.
Yeah, but I think that may
have
But it's more of like a personal thing than like
maybe
an attraction thing.
But you could tell even like Leo can't keep his eyes off her. Remember during the fight, he can't.
Okay, let me put a.
Leo is obviously like what, bisexual, right? Isn't that the thing?
Yes,
yeah, he's
he
bisexual, right? And he's just. I
agree with George. He basically is like, "Oh yes, that's Rika, that girl I knew back in the day. I can't believe it. She's so much older now." And the other guys are like, "Oh, hey, baby," and he's like, "No, she's mine." Like it is a claiming thing, but I do think he finds her attractive.
Well, that is very
based on what he talks about later.
Yeah, and to George's point, there is even a line later on, right before the end of the chapter, where he goes, "It was then that Leo made up his mind that he was interested. Antop knew all about women. If he was impressed, everyone would be." So yeah, okay.
That's the thing. Like his attraction to women is based more on what other people think than his own opinion.
Right. And you're right, George. When Antop comes, hubba, like my.
And he's just like, "No, mine."
Yeah,
he's mine.
This is all despicable, by the way.
It is. And then they're getting like raunchy or whatever, and Jerron turns away. He's like, "Ugh, God, for pity's sake." And then, but Leo goes, he was a great friend and a damned clever, but he could be a hell of a prude. I don't think that's what it is, Leo. But you know, Antop even goes, well, if you'd rather wrestle, it'd be such a shame to leave such a promising field unplowed. Ooh,
Oh my god.
good lord.
Yeah, that's gross.
Mhm. It's like these are all gay boys, and they're just talking like how they imagine straight men talking about
Well,
women.
to be fair, not
Yeah, that's
all
true.
of them
Not all.
are.
Which one's straight? I forget which one's straight.
And Antaup is straight.
Antop is straight. Okay.
Yes.
No, I thought he.
Ritter
I thought.
is married with the kids. So.
Well,
Yes.
Ritta's dead though. So
The
yeah, I
most.
thought,
The most.
Yeah.
He goes. The most. Sounds horrible. The most gay is Cloud and Durant. Those two are the most.
what about Barnava?
Obviously, Barnava. It's hard to say. I don't think he is. I
Why
think
wasn't Antop also like? Isn't he?
Barnava dies
Antaup
later.
is just
so
very insecure.
Yeah,
Is that
he's
what it is?
insecure. He's a ladies' man, but only because he wants to be liked.
Interesting.
Oh, he makes it all up as well, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he tells Leo tells Antop to end the chapter. He goes, "Keep your plow to yourself and stay off my land." Wink, wink.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Okay. All right, boys.
Like Jesus.
That's our Ricky you're talking about there, boy.
That's your Ricky. She ain't my Ricky.
My Ricky. She ain't my Ricky.
No. So that's the end of that chapter, boys. How do you rate it?
I don't know. I like it more now that we've talked about it. To be honest, I like it less. Before
you do?
When I'd read it this afternoon, and before when we were talking about it, I liked it less. But now I'm like, okay, it's pretty intricate. I like the way that they all mess around with each other, and Ricker gets introduced and throws the whole sort of like equilibrium between Leo and his mates into
That's
chaos.
Yeah, which is the start of his like, oh, I need to be number one. Well, like in modern, like as an adult, obviously he's always felt that way.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I reckon I'll go 5 again.
Harrison, how did you rate it?
I think I'm going to give it. I actually enjoyed these chapters. I feel like there's actually like it's not like setup, or it's not like things aren't happening. Things are happening. Like the plot is moving forward, the characters are developing, and I enjoy the interactions in these sections. But it is a short chapter. Not too much happens. There's just a lot of subtext and things going on in the background. So I'd say 6 out of 9 for me.
6 out of 9 for you. I'll give it a 5 and a knuckle. I'll give it a 5 and a knuckle. Short chapter. Again, it kind of feels like a lot of these chapters could, like you say, George, just plop them into like a good decent sized one, right? It's interesting how right after we see Rika and Isern get rescued by Shivers, she's immediately just wherever Leo and them are, and we're just watching a fight, and like news of that didn't spread. Like, okay,
well,
I'm just telling you that I'm not asking for a rebuttal. You give me your rebuttal after I give my
okay.
finish this off. But that's something that's just like a peculiarity that stuck out to me. But I mean, maybe it's not even like anything. I like the banter between Rika and Leo. Like Rika obviously is just very quick witted here, just in general, and obviously horny, apparently, and so is Isern. Leo to be determined. And obviously it is. I like how it's like, all right, Leo is training to be the best warrior he can be, right? He's doing things like I'm fighting, like George alluded to, fighting men, with not knowing what weapons they're going to use or fighting them on their terms because you just never know what's going to happen in the circle. He's like training for the circle, which is interesting because it's like you would think on the face of it that might be a smart thing to do, but I think what that does is actually like limits his capabilities as a fighter.
Yes, he's thinking just about winning a duel, not actually fighting.
Right.
Yeah,
That's different, and which is like a fascinating analysis there. There's like depth to be mined there, which is like obviously hilarious when you consider what happens in the actual circle against Tower later.
Yeah, it actually puts it in the great context. Yeah.
Like all that for nothing, buddy. All that for nothing.
I guess the thing with Leo is that we find from Logan and many others that the only thing that can really prepare you for like battle is battle.
Yeah, the chaos of it.
You can't train for it.
Yeah, you can't.
But we've seen him in battle, and he does it right.
He does all right. He does all right in a battle. But again, we've seen him against like thralls and Calder using like feinting maneuvers with expendable cannon fodder. Let's just say, right? Unfortunately, let's just say.
Is it in a skirmish? Let's say.
Yeah, right. We don't know how that really works out. Harrison, you were going to say something about my comment about Ricka just showing up to the spectator thing.
Oh, right? I mean, okay, it actually does make sense in many ways because they've just entered the camp.
Oh,
They're training in the camp.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also not like modern day. I think sometimes we forget about that in these books. Like the news traveling is fucking slow at this period of time.
No, of course, like it's via word of mouth. But I'm thinking about like, Dogman and his crew are on not the run, but they're also on the move alongside the army of England, or Finrey Dan Brock's army. Leo there, obviously. More might have been like a passing two dog. Okay, yeah, that's right, because Isrin's like, come on, gotta go. So
they're all together.
Yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought like they were there for days. I don't know why I thought that, but it sounds more like they're passing through. They happened upon. I imagine Leo and the boys are doing something stupid like this every day or every other day. So this isn't like a thing where they're like putting up like papyrus like posters of like tune in.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's pretty much our episode of these 3 chapters. Well, that's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the 3 of us, and your support means so much.
Join us next week as we cover questions and the machinery of state.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media or shoot us an email at circleoftheworldpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And please make sure to rate and review us, as it helps. Thank you all again for listening.
The Young Lemon!